Now Yuki has a family dinner, where her grandfather, the head of the family, comments on the topic of the student congress, where Kuze and the heiress of Taniyama Industries participated. He knows that Sayaka was the one who took Yuki to the wire in her middle school presidential election, so he expected good things from her. But it seems she left in the middle of the debate. Whatever her reasons, it has resulted in Kuzi's campaign gaining legitimacy. Yuki's grandfather tells her that no matter who she's up against, she's not allowed to lose. Even if she's not as gifted as Kuzi, she has to know that with great gifts come great responsibilities. Responsibilities Kuze ran away from. He was born with unrivaled talents and into unmatched privilege, but he threw it all away, so losing to him, of all people, is absolutely not an option. After dinner, Yuki's mother approaches her to ask if she's still close to Kuze as ever. Yuki confirms this, asking if she needed to know something about him. Her mother says no, mentioning that Yuki has Chinese online classes, so she wishes her good luck. Once Yuki enters her room with Ayano, she asks for permission to hug her, and after doing so, she rubs her face against her chest, smiling as she says she feels all better now. Once in class, Kuzi's classmates talk to him about his success at the student congress, wanting to know more details about it. On the other hand, he realizes that Alisa is not very happy, so what he does is direct all of their questions towards her, giving her all the credit for the victory. They don't seem very motivated to talk to her, but Kuze convinces the classmate in front of him to ask her questions about it, encouraging the others to do the same. Alisa simply answers some questions, until they start criticizing Sayaka, something she doesn't like at all. She suddenly stands up and leaves the classroom, asking Kuzi to go with her, so he has to make up an excuse to leave the classroom with her. Once they're in the student council office, Kuzi asks her if Sayaka getting ridiculed bothers her so much. It's true that they know why she did what she did, but she has to remember that they did nothing wrong. They simply fought fair and square, so there's no need to let what people say about her bother them. Alisa says she knows that, but they didn't actually beat them. They simply forfeited. Kuze asks her what she will do in that case, since if they help her save face, that will mean their student congress victory goes to waste. Or at least, that's what he would say if he was putting their interests first, but no one cares about that. What really matters is what she wants to do. Alisa says she wants to help Sayaka, and Kuzi immediately says that's what they'll do, taking her by surprise. She asks if that's really okay, and he clarifies there's no point letting this drag out. They will sort this mess out and head into the closing ceremony with a clear conscience. Alisa apologizes, since she knows this will only create more work for him, but he asks her not to worry about it, reminding her that he's there for her. This causes Alisa's face to light up, but just then, Kuze senses a disturbance in the air, realizing that Kenzaki and Chisaki are hidden under the desk. He thinks this is a situation straight out of a rom-com, but as Alisa approaches him with a tender smile, he realizes that a rom-com scene is starting over here too. She moves even closer, and all he can do now is divert her attention elsewhere, so he asks the other two if they're going to keep hiding. Alisa is taken aback by this, and Kenzaki gets out from under the desk first, apologizing as Chisaki gives them a not-so-convincing excuse as to why they were there. Kuze just suggests that they pretend none of them saw or heard anything, but when they get to the hallway, Alisa is completely flustered, so nervous that she excuses herself and runs away. After a while, Kuzi goes to the classroom where Nonoa is, in order to ask her to talk alone somewhere private. Once they're alone, she lets him know she's all ears if he wants to ask her out, though she knows that's not what he's there for. Kuze is taken aback by that, and she explains that she's actually single right now, and she doesn't really mind him, but he tells her that she should go out with someone she actually likes. Nonoa mentions that she has never dated anyone she really liked, and she doesn't get all that love and romance stuff. Far be it from him to meddle in her affairs, Kuze says that she should probably try to avoid selling herself short. This takes her by surprise, and she says that Sayaka actually told her the same thing, though it came with a bonus slap. Leaving that aside, Kuzi mentions that people are talking trash about Sayaka, so he was wondering if they could put a stop to it. He clarifies that it's not that it bothers him, but it bothers his partner, something that Nonoa quickly understands, since Alisa is actually sweet. She still asks him why he came to her, since he should know that she's the enemy, and she's sure he noticed that she had plants in the audience. Kuzi admits he did know about that, and he can't believe she would risk destroying her friendships like that. Nonoa confesses that she's not attached to any of her friends other than Sayaka, so she doesn't really care if she loses them. He then mentions that people like Sayaka have a fire burning within, and that should be a total mystery to her, so he wonders why she's so attached to her. She clarifies he's got it the wrong way around, saying that Sayaka intrigues her because she's such a mystery, and that's why she wants her around. Surely he should get how it feels to be drawn to someone with a fire he doesn't possess. Nonoa accepts to help him, and Kuzi explains his proposal, saying that they will have to spread a rumor giving a plausible explanation to why Sayaka left that day, to make it seem like she didn't run away. He knows that will bring his victory into question, but that's fine by them, so Nonoa accepts his proposal. Once she's gone, he remembers a manga scene where you summon your trusty spy, so he decides to call Ayano's name, actually getting startled when she shows up out of nowhere with Yuki. She explains that they noticed him approaching Nonoa, an enemy, so they hid behind the teacher's desk to eavesdrop on him. Just then, Alisa casually shows up and quickly jumps into conclusions, so she leaves the place a little mad, asking them to enjoy themselves. We then see Nonoa, who remembers the time Sayaka slapped her face, asking her to stop selling herself short. She did that because she saw her kissing a different guy once again, something that made her feel furious. When she's finally back in her classroom, she tells her classmates that Kuzi was asking her about Sayaka, since he wanted to know why she skipped school today. Her classmates mention that she's probably feeling down over losing the debate, but Nonoa clarifies it's actually her fault. Besides, she only left the debate because she was mad at her. Sayaka found out halfway through the student congress that she had plants in the audience. Going back to Kuzi, he tries explaining to Alisa that he really just happened to run into Yuki and Ayano back there, but she doesn't seem convinced. She says he doesn't need to make excuses, and she's glad the three childhood friends are so close. Giving up on that, he changes the topic and asks her if she will study with him after school today. She accepts, though he gets a little offended, since she saw the fact he wanted to study as a joke. Once in the student council office, Kuze mentions that she's sitting a little close. Alisa asks him if that's a problem, and he says no, not having any other choice than to accept the situation, just hoping no one sees them that way. Right after that, Yuki and Ayano come in, and seeing that they are studying, she asks their permission to join. Alisa rejects her in Russian, but when Kuze asks her what she thinks, she agrees without complaint. Once again in Russian, she says that she would prefer they were alone, and Kuze internally complains about that, wanting her to quit being so adorable. Later, Alisa notices that Kuze is just reading the solutions, interested in whether that will help him prepare for the exams. He says that tearing his hair out over problems he doesn't get is a waste of time better spent getting the solutions into his head. Seeing that Alisa still doesn't understand, Yuki assures that it's okay, since Kuzi has always been like that, and Ayano obediently agrees with her. Kuze then asks Ayano if there's something she doesn't understand, clarifying that he's not going to mock her over it or anything. Hearing that, Ayano mentions that she would prefer it if he berated her and called her a useless waste of space. He says that's definitely not happening, a little confused when he sees her actually disappointed. Alisa then asks if the three of them are really just childhood friends. After all, they seem awfully close, even for childhood friends. Before he can say anything, Masha arrives to greet them, and she quickly prepares some tea for all of them. She then notices an odd hypnosis book on the table, so she asks Alisa to try it on her. Her sister rejects the idea, so Masha manages to convince Kuze to do it, so he reads the indications and asks her to focus her eyes on his finger. He tells her that she feels her mind slowly go into trance, getting very sleepy, and the moment he claps his hands, she will fall into a deep slumber. Once he claps his hands, everyone's taken aback when Masha actually falls asleep. Kuzi decides to undo the hypnosis, as easy as touching her shoulder, as the book indicates. When Masha snaps out of it, asks him why he stopped, since he said he was going to clap his hands. A little shocked, he asks her if she doesn't remember anything, but she doesn't understand what he's talking about, clearly unaware of what happened. Yuki then suggests that they try the hypnosis on Alisa. That way they will know whether Masha's telling the truth or not. Alisa decides to do it, wanting to put an end to this farce, so Kuzi follows the same steps he did the first time, clapping his hands and seeing it was too easy, since she immediately fell asleep. Now Yuki just questions why Masha got hypnotized again, though Kuzi has no idea himself. She gets a little too excited, completely ready for an otaku improv. Which topic is that she just hypnotized two hotties? Yuki asks for suggestions, and Kuzi immediately says mental age regression. On the other hand, Yuki's shameless suggestion is to make them totally unrestrained and have them strip, and Ayano only suggests making them reveal their deepest, darkest secrets, though Yuki says that's lacking a bit of impact. After discussing it for a bit, Yuki decides to go with her idea, so she tells Alisa and Masha that they will become more and more unrestrained. Freed from the shackles of their inhibitions, they will lay their minds and bodies bare. The two girls open their eyes and suddenly get on their feet, still under hypnosis, something Yuki wasn't actually expecting. They walk towards Kuze, and just a moment after we see Masha patting Kuze and Alisa's heads. No one has any idea of why this happened, and Yuki says she didn't expect Masha's harem time to begin, not Kuze's. Alisa suddenly stands up and starts taking off her clothes, exposing her underwear. Kuzi starts freaking out, but Masha then starts doing the same, and Yuki remembers she did say that they would lay their minds and bodies bare. They quickly try getting them out from the hypnosis, but this time their methods are not working. Just then, Chisaki arrives, and when they explain what's going on, she gets in front of the girls and simply knocks them out, saying that was a reset. This surprisingly works, so Elisa and Masha wake up after a while, clearly disoriented, but highly embarrassed when they notice they're almost naked. Chisaki then approaches Kuze, knowing very well he saw them, so she cracks her knuckles as she asks him if he wants a reset as well. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, then subscribe to support the channel, comment the word hypnosis to prove that you stayed till the end, since not a lot of people do.